Welcome to episode 3 of Myths, Legends, and Folklore. Today we cover the Kappa out of Japanese folklore. Pretty creepy one. Likes to take children and stuff. It's going to be an extra long episode today. The encounter is pretty long, but it's an interesting one. Anyways, hope you guys enjoy. Leave a like, subscribe, and tell a friend. The Kappa, also known as a Kawataro, or river child, a Komahiki, horse puller, or Kawatora, river tiger, is a yokai demon, or imp, found in traditional Japanese folklore. The name is a combination of the words kawa, which means river, and wappa, a variant form of warara, also warabi, which means child. In Shinto, they are considered to be one of the many Tsuji, or water gods. One of their temporary appearances, a hairy kappa, is called a Hayosubi. In Japanese Buddhism, they are considered to be a kind of hungry ogre. Therefore, Sha Wu Jing, who is a character from the Chinese story Journey to the West, is described like a kappa in Japan. Kappa are distinguished as having a small pool of water suspended over the top of their head, signifying their life force and habitat. There are more than 80 names for the kappa. Kappa have been used to warn children of the dangers lurking in rivers and lakes, as kappa have been often said to try to lure people into the water and pull them in and drown them. Kappa legends are said to be based on the Japanese giant salamander, or hanzaki, an aggressive salamander that grabs its prey with its powerful jaws. Other theories suggest they are based on historical sightings of the now extinct Japanese river otter as seen from a distance. Otters have been known to stand upright, and a drunk, frightened, or hallucinating person may think they are seeing a humanoid entity and not a wild animal. The kappa is typically depicted as roughly humanoid in form and about the size of a child. Its scaly reptilian skin ranges in color from green to yellow or blue. Kappa supposedly inhabit the ponds and rivers of Japan and have various features to aid them in this environment, such as webbed hands and feet. They are sometimes said to smell like fish, and they can swim like them too. Some cross-culture. Similar folklore can be found in Asia and Europe. The Japanese folklore creature Kappa is known in Chinese folklore as shui gui, or water ghost, or water monkey. They have also been related to the Kelpie of Scotland and the Neck of Scandinavia. Like the Japanese description of the water beast, in Chinese and in Scandinavian lore, this beast is infamous for kidnapping and drowning people as well as horses. In Siokoi of the Philippines Islands, it is also known for kidnapping children by the water banks. A possible kappa encounter. Now, I know I have been a lucky person to see as much of the world as I have, even though some of the experiences I have encountered make me question the path I've chosen to go down. I have had more than one instance where I've put myself into too much danger and nearly lost my life. This is one of those experiences. For starters, I will explain what creature I had chosen to research. Kappas are a creature known in Japanese folklore as a trickster imp of sorts. Intelligent and enjoys using its smarts to be an incredible prankster. Legends differ about the severity of the pranks, ranging from cutting the lines of a fisherman all the way down to drowning children who wander too close to the water's edge where the kappa resides. Kappas are classified as aquatic cryptids, and are known to wander onto land in the search of flesh of children or their other favorite food, cucumbers. A kappa can be described as the size of a small child, greenish tinged skin, with the features of an ape and frog. All that aside, my research was more based on traversing to different aquatic environments through Japan and cataloging average population distribution of the giant Japanese salamander, which is believed really to be the main origin of the kappa. I was trying to disprove the legend. I believe the kappa to be too intelligent to live within our realm, and not to be recorded within the science community. My degree in zoology deemed me qualified to undergo this research, and as stated, I don't publish too much of my work because it never acquires too much popularity. I usually clash with the cryptozoological community. I usually have differing opinions than most cryptozoologists. So, at this point I had traveled through much of the region where the Japanese salamanders are located, and acquired promising results. They had a massive population with many correlating factors in the appearance to the kappa. At this stage I was within Tokushima, just north of Takigiyama, researching a river within the forest, and had acquired 2 giant Japanese salamanders. I was in the process of finishing up photos and releasing my second catch back into its habitat when I heard a decent-sized splash near the center of the lake. This was one of the few times I had not hired a guide or taken a partner with me, as I didn't believe the current research to be hazardous. I went to explore the sound of the splash and realized that the water was getting quite deep. When I felt I was around the source, the water was up to my upper abdomen. It was quite muddy underneath my boots. I started searching for what I had hoped to be another salamander when I heard a splash again further out. I knew I shouldn't go further out as I was already quite deep, but was intrigued about what could be out there. Inland Japan isn't known for large aquatic life. By the time I reached what I believed to be the area of the second sound, I was chest deep in water. I searched for a few minutes with no more luck, so I decided to retreat back to the shore. As I turned and headed back, I heard a third splash sound further out. I turned and looked and decided that it was too far out to try to justify going. I started moving back, and as I turned and made my way back, I felt this slight tug and pressure on my leg. Before I could register what was happening, I had been pulled under and was being dragged along the bottom of the river at a fast pace. I was fighting with all my will and managed to turn around to see the shape of a humanoid hand wrapped around my ankle with quite large claws. I then realized what had me was not a predator and had not bitten down on my leg, but I was actually being dragged by something. I kept fighting for what felt like hours, but was only a minute or two. I cannot explain what drowning feels like. When people say black starts to creep up within your vision, that's true. But I found people never fully explain well enough what your chest feels like. It's nothing like holding your breath. It's a pressure within you making you feel like you're going to implode and explode at the same time. It's excruciating to say the least. I found people rarely explain in near drowning stories once you make it past the pain though. You're just about to black out and you suddenly feel this euphoria. It is quite funny actually, going from one of the most painful and horrible experiences to literally what I can describe as the best feeling you've ever felt. So after that feeling I blacked out, thinking but not caring that this was the last time I'd be alive. I suddenly awoke on a boat, getting some lip action by a 70-year-old Japanese man with a young man standing next to him soaking wet and shirtless. I sat up and started coughing buckets of water out of my lungs. When we finally made it to a hospital, the nurse managed to translate for me what the young man was trying to tell me on the way there. Apparently, He had been fishing with his grandfather when all of a sudden they saw a commotion just under their boat. He said he saw a faint shape of two humans, with one just floating there and the other, he swears, was doing a sort of swimming, dancing thing around the other figure. He dove straight in and swam to me, which caused the other figure to fade back into the murky water. He pulled me onto the boat, where his grandfather began CPR immediately. These two men had saved my life. I still don't know what had grabbed me, but the young man kept repeating, "Akuma, Akuma." Through his explanations, and due to the fact that he had described it as male in size and not a child, I highly doubt it to be a Kappa. I did ask the nurse what Akuma meant, and with a startled look, she simply stated, "Demon," and hurried and returned to her shift. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to episode 3 of Myths, Legends, and Folklore. The Kappa is a weird creature. Be careful out there if you're a tourist in Japan. Don't want to be dragged into the water by one of those things. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to submit your own creature to be covered in a Myths, Legends, and Folklore episode, you can email us at insomniaccity@gmail.com. or leave us a comment below in the video, or a Facebook message. Anyways, have a good night, guys. Don't be afraid. It's just the dark.